I feel like this is the ultimate Inazuma 11 what if. What if there was an Inazuma 11 Go FFI? Obviously, we know when FFI was started in Galaxy, but was cut short so that they could, go to space or whatever. But I feel like Inazuma 11 fans have always looked at that and gone, there's missed potential. We need to see a season which actually follows through with a proper Inazuma 11 Go FFI, a proper international tournament which sees us take on some European countries, some African countries, not just the Asian countries, sees an actual Inazuma Japan, not the Earth 11, once made up of players from Inazuma 11 Go 1, not a bunch of brand new characters. I think this is what Inazuma 11 fans are constantly craving for. Personally, I absolutely adore Galaxy, and I'm so happy they went with that approach. But I see why people really like this kind of idea of a more proper Season 3 style, Orient style tournament. And so today, I'm here to give my pitch for that kind of season. We did something similar to this a year ago. We did a video basically talking about who I thought should have been in Inazuma Japan and Inazuma 11 Go if there was to be an Inazuma Japan made up of Inazuma 11 Go 1 players. But that video is a bit outdated, and I want to do something a bit bigger with this one. I want to not just cover Inazuma Japan, but also look at potential countries they could have taken on, potential plot lines, and also who could have been the final boss, stuff like that. So without further ado, let's dive in. What if Inazuma 11 Go had an FFI? So let's start off with Inazuma Japan. The coach for me would be Jude Sharp. He just has a really good tactical know-how, and I see him being appointed as the main manager. Mark, who is brilliant with man management, I imagine he could honestly just be off doing scouting. Think what Nelly kind of did without becoming a manager of a different team. Nelly just goes around kind of looking into shit. Mark goes around, you know what I mean, scouting out the entire area. Scouting out the different teams they're going to take on and bringing the information back, while Jude handles the main tactical know-how. And this brings us on to who are actually going to be in Inazuma Japan. So our goalkeepers are going to be Alessandro Ilgrand and JP. Now, Alessandro Ilgrand will be our main goalkeeper, and he'll be kind of raising JP as his prodigy, as his backup. JP will be a bit what the fuck? Why am I'm the bloody goalkeeper of Chronostorm. Why am I not number one? But then it'll turn out there's tactical reasons why Ilgrand is number one, why Ilgrand, he has certain leadership qualities that JP just doesn't possess, and JP has to learn those qualities from Ilgrand, and eventually Ilgrand does the ultimate mega move and injures himself or something during a match, and JP has to take over as the backup goalkeeper, and JP finally proves his might and becomes a much, much better keeper as a result of Ilgrand's training and being benched and all that kind of stuff. I love this idea for a plotline about JP continuing his development as a keeper that Galaxy kind of looked into, but I'd love to see it kind of drawn out over an entire season. And I think Ilgrand is a really good candidate to be that kind of teacher. As for the defenders, we've got Gabriel Garcia, Wanley, Aitor, and Drake and Yale. There's not a whole lot of thought to this, just 4 cool defenders. Obviously 3 are from Raimon, but Raimon has the majority of the cool defenders. Just kind of 4 cool, nifty defenders who I think would suit the team and could create some interesting dynamics. I imagine Draken could kind of play into a fun little comedy angle with the other 3. The other 3 kind of, obviously Aitor's constantly annoying Gabby. Wanley's kind of there. I can imagine him being in some pranks with Aitor, stuff like that. Then Draken's there, Les the super serious straight man to them all. It'd be fun. It'd be really funny. Midfield and forward-wise, they kind of merge together a bit because a lot of these players can either play up front or can either play midfield. So I'm just going to kind of go through the rest of them. Ricardo, obviously. Arian, obviously. Cronus, because, come on, he'd be really cool to have in the team. Nord Snow for the same reason. Bylong for the same reason. Victor Blade, because obviously. Sol Daystar, because obviously. Roma, because obviously. And Dodge, because I'd love to see Dodge be reunited with his Raimon brethren and kind of have to, show I'm not a complete dick, guys, and also learn to work with them again. Maybe he gets a Black Dawn type move with Victor, and he serves that kind of Matatagi role a bit. I'd love to see Dodge in this team. But if you have your brains on, you will have realized that was only 15 players, and there's still a spot left. Who is the final player? I hear you cry. Well, they are going to be a completely new character. I don't have a name for them, but they'll be a defender. They'll be themed around thunderclouds. And their whole thing will be kind of being a polar opposite to Arian. They will see football as a tool, desperately want to be the best and nothing more. I imagine they'd be around the age of Austin Hobbs, when Austin Hobbs was in the FFI. He'd be discovered by Jude in a random youth tournament. And when he joins the team as kind of their big wonder kid type player, he'd meet Arian and he'd be immediately aggravated by Arian's love, passion for football, football is crying, so on and so forth. He'd really not like that, and eventually over the course of Arian pestering him, he would snap and he'd try to sabotage Arian, and there'd be a big moment where he kind of gets banished from the team for a bit. Ricardo brings him back, Arian and him like connect or whatever, and the two come up with like a cool move together. Arian needs to have some kind of conflict, and I don't want to just copy Inazuma 11-3 where Arian kind of bonds with players from outside of the team. I want to have some inter-team conflict between Arian and someone who just is the exact opposite of Arian's philosophy, but without being like a super villain, you know what I mean? Think like the episode of The Simpsons where the bloody Frank guy comes in, Frank Grimes, and Homer and Frank Grimes are like at each other's throats. That's a reference about 3 members of my audience will get. Now let's talk about the actual FFI. Who are going to be the teams in the group stage? I'm just going to like basically just say that the whole qualifying stages are the exact same as Galaxy in terms of the teams we take on. When we get to the group stages of the actual FFI, we've got, in my opinion, I think it should be Spain, France, because these teams didn't get a lot of love in Inazuma 11-3. I'd love to see them get some proper actual teams in this. Netherlands, because I mean, come on. Netherlands is a team where there's, not only is Netherlands a country with lots of love for Inazuma 11, a pretty big Inazuma 11 fan base, or at least that's what I noticed from my audience statistics, but it's one that we haven't seen in Inazuma 11 yet, and I'd love to see what kind of team Inazuma 11 would come up with for it. Also, Egypt, I really love the idea of an Egyptian mythology themed team. I just really, really want this. So yeah, so them plus Japan would be the group. Then for the semi-finals, it would be Italy, an Italy team coached by Paolo Bianchi. And finally, the finals would be against Argentina. Now we can have a bit of fun with this Argentina plotline. I imagine this Argentina team has a really amazing playmaker, like a proper attacking midfielder playmaker. And Victor goes to one of Argentina's matches and sees this player playing and he's like, oh shit, this fella's kinda good. He goes and talks to him, the other player though kind of ignores him. Victor then runs into him again, challenges him to a proper one-on-one practice match, and the two start to develop a rivalry. And it would be kind of a mirror of Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, because why not? We need more Inazuma 11 GOAT debates. And in the final, this would come to a head. I imagine the two would kind of fire off incredible Hisatsus at each other. They would then try and block them with their kicks. There would be this massive thing before the two like injure themselves in the 75th minute or something. I just imagine this massive Hisatsu fight in the middle of the final between these two incredible attacking players. I love Victor and I think he needs so much more spotlight, and I would love to see this be done rather than like Victor goes and falls in love with an alien princess or whatever the hell Galaxy tried to do with Victor, which is by a mile my least favorite part of Galaxy. But yeah, hopefully this season sounds good to you guys. What would you do if you were making an Inazuma 11 Go FFI season? Let me know in the comments down below. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.